Okay, so this weekend, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, the rematch, UFC 261, three title fights on the line, sick card, great card. Not the fight we wanted. We preferred, whether it was Jorge Masvidal versus Kobe Covington, Ultimate Fighter, or if it was Kobe Covington versus Kamaru Usman, the rematch. The first fight was quite good. We wanted one of those other fights. Not the fight we wanted, but we got it, and we're excited for it. It's quite a good fight. You know, the first fight was in the same July 2020 Fight Island. Did 1.3 million pay-per-views. That had three title fights on it as well. Quite a big fight card. Masvidal saved it on 6 days' notice. Gilbert Burns pulled out due to COVID. Masvidal came in, cut 20 pounds in 6 days. As you can see in the fight, his conditioning wasn't the best. He had to take pockets of rest and burst out in every few moments. But as I predicted, Kamaru Usman would win by decision, 4 rounds to 1 or 5-0. I said 4 rounds to 0 because I thought that Kamaru Usman would get a bit cocky in the first round, try standing with Masvidal, get pieced up, lose the round, and go back to the game plan, and that's pretty much what happened. But Masvidal did quite good, to be honest. Of course, Kamaru Usman made it quite boring for stomps, body shots against the cage. Very boring for 60 minutes of control time out of 25 minutes, though pretty decent. But he stuck to his game plan, done what he needed to do. But Masvidal did quite well, actually. He stuffed a lot of takedowns. He stuffed most of the takedowns, to be honest. I think 11 out of 16. I can't remember the exact figure. But he stuffed a lot of them, and the ones that he did get taken down in, he got right back up. Now, I think at the end of the third or fourth round, he did get stuck in the ground till the end of the round on bottom, taking a few elbows and stuff. But in general, you could see that he outstruck Usman on the feet, not on the feet, not against the cage in the center. He outstruck him easily with ease. Usman was telegraphing. Masvidal was easily beating him. Masvidal was a boxer, man. He's much better. But overall, obviously, Usman dominated control time. A bit of ground and pound, but mainly full stomps and clinch work. But he beat him fair and square. Now this fight's much different because Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal aren't coming in 6 days' notice. The first fight, Kamaru Usman was training for Gilbert Burns the whole time. So he was training for Gilbert Burns, who's the BJJ guy, world champion in BJJ. He's got a good left hook, but he's not the best boxer. Okay. Masvidal, stand up's his game. Always boxing. Most his good wins are knockouts. So yeah, the game plan was completely different. So you could say that Kamaru Usman last fight, he was training for Gilbert Burns. He had Masvidal on 6 days' notice too. So he was training for a BJJ guy, not a stand-up guy. So you can look at it that way as well. Jorge Masvidal, now he had 6 days' notice to train for a wrestler. Now he did bring in wrestlers. Dustin Poirier did say he was training. He was Dustin Poirier's main training partner. There's two sides of the coin. We don't know. I do think he's gonna be better this time. I think his conditioning's gonna be better, but I don't know how much it's gonna be. Now, let's break it down, the stats and all that. Kamaru Usman, 18-1, 13-0 in the UFC. Last fight, Gilbert Burns. Before that, Jorge Masvidal. Before that, Kobe Covington, 3 title defenses. Before that, took the belt off Woodley, 5-0, dominant. Now that win doesn't look as good as it used to now because Woodley's on a 4-fight losing streak. Win didn't really age well. Although maybe he could say that he's the one that started it off, but I don't know. I think it doesn't look too good. Either way, he dominated them all. Other notable wins: Leon Edwards, Damian Maia. Who else is there? Who am I missing? RDA. Yeah, that's a big resume, and now he's coming back. Like you said, he's lapping around. He's coming back to the first guy again, Jorge Masvidal. Obviously, he made good pay-per-view in the first time. He knows Masvidal's a draw. He wants the money. He's come back for that. And of course, he didn't finish him, and he wants to finish. I think he's a bit hungry for the finish. Now, Jorge Masvidal, 35-14. Not the best record, but he fights much more often, and his style is much less safe. Of course, you can lose a lot of fights, but most of his fights are lost by decision. He's never been finished in the UFC. He got finished earlier before the UFC. Now, there was an crazy inverted triangle he got submitted in. But he has never been finished in the UFC. He's very hard to finish, and that's why I predicted him by decision the first time against Usman. But he is 7-5 in the UFC welterweight division. Obviously, coming up from the lightweight division, just like Gilbert Burns, he's 7-5 in the UFC welterweight division. And he's only fought 2 champions, Benson Henderson, former lightweight champion, and sorry, not Benson Henderson. Is it Ben? I can't remember. Okay, ignore that. I think he did. Was it Benson Henderson? I'm pretty sure it was Benson Henderson, and he lost to Benson Henderson. He also lost to Kamaru Usman. The only 2 champions he's fought, he's lost to. Now, in the top 10, who has he beat? He beat Ben Askren, flying knee. Okay, it was practiced, yes, but how would it have gone? In hindsight, you could say he would have beat Ben Askren. I still thought Ben Askren would have out-wrestled him. I don't know. It's difficult to tell because he did quite well against Kamaru Usman. Masvidal did. So he's got that win, but, that was Ben Askren. All right, I'll give it to you. Darren Till, good win, but again, there's arguments that, Darren Till was cutting too much weight. No, but I'm going to give him the win. It's a solid win. He beat Darren Till, who was ranked number 3 or 4, something. He was being a bit pushed too fast, Darren Till, because he was, an English star. He wanted to push him quite high. I think he went too far in, and he lost to Woodley after that as well, a bit too young. And, Darren Till's not exactly the best material. He won 3 in his last 4 fights. But it was a good win. That's his good ranked win. Other than that win, who has he beat in the top 10? Now, he's lost to Kamaru Usman once. He's lost to Damian Maia. He's lost to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He hasn't fought Colby. He hasn't fought Woodley, although I think he beat Woodley by now. He hasn't fought Leon Edwards. And I think all those guys beat him. Leon, Colby, and Burns, I don't know. I think Burns could beat him. Burns maybe submit him. I don't know. But if they strike, Masvidal win. But besides the point. Okay. So, resume-wise, Kamaru Usman's resume is much better. He's obviously got a win against Jorge Masvidal himself. His resume is much better. Masvidal's resume isn't as good. But Masvidal's got that power, He can do it anytime, any second. He can put your lights out, just like he did to Darren Till. He's got a good Cerrone win. He's got a Cerrone win. Not ranked, but he's got a good Cerrone win. I'll give him that. We're looking into the actual fight now. Kamaru Usman is mainly a wrestler. His stand-up's not good. It's kind of effective. He's got decent fight IQ, but it's effective. He's got a bit of power. As you can see in his last fight against Gilbert Burns, he's got a good jab, but it's not the best stand-up. It's quite telegraphed. It's quite basic compared to Jorge Masvidal, which, he's even against in the last fight, after the fight, Anatomy of the Fighter, and recorded Kamaru Usman backstage saying, I wasn't comfortable in there. I didn't feel like I did enough. We need more work. And, that's a good sign from a champion. That's a good champion mindset. And that's why this fight, he said, other than the pay-per-view, of course, there are lots of millions of pounds you get from the Jorge Masvidal, the money fight. He also wanted to finish Jorge Masvidal. He said, I didn't finish him last time. I want to finish him now. I want to bury him, And that's what he wants to do. And like I said, Jorge Masvidal is very hard to finish. Never been finished in the UFC. All his losses by decision. But that's his goal. So you got a good wrestler with decent jiu-jitsu against a good striker with decent jiu-jitsu. Who's got better conditioning? Kamaru Usman. Who's got a better fight IQ? I'd say Kamaru Usman. Who's got a better 5-round experience? Kamaru Usman. Who's got better overall experience? Now you've got Jorge Masvidal overall experience more in the stand-up. Obviously, you've got more wrestling for Usman. So that's it. The experience is kind of middle. In the UFC, obviously, Jorge Masvidal has more, total fights. Kamaru Usman only has 20. Well, this will be his 20th fight, and this will be Masvidal's 50th pro fight, which is crazy because if he gets the belt on his 50th pro fight, it would be quite sick. It would be like a Bisping story, maybe even better. But conditioning wise, they said that Jorge Masvidal 6 days notice, he was not very well conditioned, and you could see in that fight he was getting tired. He had to take pockets of rest, he had to relax. But you could also argue that Kamaru Usman had to have a 6-day notice against Jorge Masvidal. He's training for Gilbert Burns, and then all of a sudden, Kamaru Usman has to fight Jorge Masvidal 6 days notice, from going from a BJJ fighter to a stand-up boxer. Different game plan. You could argue that. So for both of them, and he had to go on the plane. He had to do a lot of 5-week stuff. You can argue it both ways, but I think it affected Masvidal more. He said he had to cut 20 pounds. Now Usman cuts a lot of weight, probably more than Masvidal, but he's used to it. Still, the conditioning, the game plan, I think it works both ways, but I think it benefits Masvidal better than it does Usman, because he obviously had to cut more in a short amount of time, and he got affected more in terms of conditioning. But game plan wise, you can't miss out that Kamaru Usman was not training for Jorge Masvidal, so his game plan will be different. Last fight, he fought Gilbert Burns. Now, I predicted Gilbert Burns to beat Kamaru Usman. I thought that in the first round, in the first 7 minutes, I think I said, Usman will throw a straight hand, and Gilbert Burns will counter over the top with a hook and drop him. And then he would either TKO him or submit him. And that almost happened. It was pretty accurate, I'd say that prediction was. But the thing was, he dropped him, and then Kamaru Usman has got that fight experience. He's got that grit. He stayed through it, and Gilbert Burns blowed his wad. He carried on going. He had no idea. He started bursting out, gassed his tank out, and then lay on his back for 2 minutes and gave Usman time to recover. Of course, we learned from that Usman is scared to go to the ground with Gilbert Burns, and of course, Gilbert Burns is a world champion in jiu-jitsu, so we understand that. Why take the risk? So he didn't go to the ground with him. But what we did learn is that he can take a shot, but you can catch him, because if Gilbert Burns can catch you, Jorge Masvidal can catch you, and he was quick with that. Gilbert Burns was quick with that, and of course he knew it because they were teammates. So they've been training, and Usman said he'd been catching me with that before in sparring, and I forgot about it. So he reminded me a bit. But yeah, he caught him, and that's the main thing. Now he did survive, and is that more to do with Gilbert Burns' inexperience, or is that to do with him just surviving it? I don't know. It could be both. But Masvidal definitely, if he catches you with that, you're probably going lights out, or he's finishing it properly because he knows how to finish. But that was a quick hook that caught him over the top, and he was quite open for it. Now, Colby Covington, in the war they had, he beat Colby Covington, but Colby Covington was outstriking him. Now, he doesn't have enough power, Colby Covington. He has less power than Kamaru Usman, but he was he was rocking him a couple times in the fight. And he did land a couple of good shots. Kamaru Usman wants to finish Jorge Masvidal in this fight. He wants to finish him. Now, if he wants to finish him, how do you think he wants to finish him? Does he want to submit him, which is of course very hard against Masvidal, or does he want to knock him out? I'm pretty sure he wants to knock him out, And I think this is Usman's technique. I don't know if it's on purpose or what, or maybe just because of the stylistic matchup, but this is what he does. So against Woodley, he makes the worst 5-round performance, 25 minutes, putting you to sleep, Kamaru, the Nigerian NyQuil Usman, as Colby Covington says. He does that. 25 minutes, you're bored to death. He's like, oh, I'm never going to watch a Kamaru Usman again. But you watch the next fight, Colby Covington, fight of the year potential, crazy 5-round fight. Then he goes to Jorge Masvidal after that, another 25 more rings. Boring. But then he goes to Gilbert Burns again. Stand up, knocks him out. So you got decision boring against the fence, TKO, decision boring, TKO. What's this one then? Is it going to be decision boring again? Following the pattern, you never know. But this time I think it's going to be different because it's a rematch against the same opponent as the last boring one. And I think that this fight depends on whether Usman gets bored of his original game plan and tries something new. Okay, so let me just give my straight prediction here. I'm waffling this out. Kamaru Usman, I have Kamaru Usman by decision, but it's much different from the first time. I have him by decision, but I think that the ratio of, how the percentage of how high Masvidal is likely to win is based on how bored Usman is, or how much he wants to change his style or knock him out or submit him. If he wants to change his normal, because Usman can easily go there, in my opinion, and just hold him against the fence for 25 minutes, full stomps and hugs and all that, and body shots and stuff, and he can win 25 minutes. Now, Masvidal's like, oh, he just hugs me, crotch sniff and all that, but obviously Masvidal knows that, if he's just hugging and crushing you, and with his foot stomps and all that, cross sniffing or whatever it is, you're the guy who can't get out of that, and he knows that, because the last fight he said he fought a beautiful fight, he respected it. Now, of course, just to sell the fight, he knows it's an art, it's not the best fight, it's not entertaining at all, but he did it. Now Usman knows, there's fans in there as well. He's going to want to live up to the energy, and so is Masvidal. He breathes off the energy. When he knocked at Till, it was fireworks in there. But Usman, against Woodley, there was fans in there, full arena, and he did it to sleep for 25 minutes. He didn't even care at all, so maybe he might do the same thing again, because he doesn't care about the crowd at all. But yeah, he might feed off the energy when he's landing shots, and that might be good for him. I think that's better for Masvidal than for Usman. If Usman's getting hit, he might try going back in a fight and getting clipped by Masvidal. But I think chin-wise, they're pretty much equal, because, Masvidal's been dropped a few times. Usman's only been dropped once in his career, I'm pretty sure. He's only lost once before the UFC, undefeated in the UFC. So chin-wise, they're kind of equal. They're both durable. They've both never been finished by punches, by strikes. Actually, Masvidal's been finished once before the UFC, a long time ago. But that doesn't count. He's very, very doable. So I think they're both very doable. That's why I think it goes to decision. But I think it's much different. I think that Kamaru Usman is going to try stand with Masvidal. Now, if he tries standing with him, I think he's going to get pieced up. But what he's going to do, he's going to try mixing up the piecing up. So he's going to mix up the stand-up with the ground game, with the takedowns, and with the clinch control. If he can, first round, if he tries coming out, with stand-up, I think he's going to get caught a few times. And then he's going to start clinching. He's going to go for a couple of takedowns. He might get a few takedowns early. Now, you said, of course we think Masvidal's going to have better conditioning. He's going to stuff a few. If you could stuff that many last time, he can stuff more this time. Of course, Usman's going to have better conditioning than last time. He's going to have a full game plan for this guy, for this boxer, rather than Gilbert Burns. So he's going to be prepared as well. But I don't think his stand-ups improved that much in the last year compared to Masvidal's natural, because in the last fight, he was so tired, he was gassed out, and he was still being Usman to the feet in the punch. So I think he can mix it up like that. But if he just starts too early with the stand-up, trying to get into a firefight and the crowd shouting, he's trying to keep going, I think he can get clipped and I think he can get TKO'd. But I don't think he can KO him stiff. He might KO him stiff. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Usman it's hard to KO Usman stiff. He's quite big. Gilbert Burns did catch him quite good. Although Masvidal has different power, he has got quite good power. But I think it works early. I think after a bit of wrestling, I think if it's past past, I'll say 9 minutes. If Masvidal hasn't KO'd him, it's going to decision. I think. Of course, he could get really tired and get submitted by Usman. But if Usman couldn't finish him on 6 days' notice, he might not finish him now, and that's what I'm going with. But he has got better conditioning himself, Kamaru Usman, and he could go for submission on the floor. He could look in the last fifth round of the last fight. He went for 3 submissions in a row very quickly. He flopped all of them because Masvidal was quite well with them, but he did go for 3. He went for like a rear naked. He went for an anaconda and something else. Arm triangle. I can't remember. He went for like a 3 sequence quickly in the fifth round, but he might go for more. I don't think he'll submit him. I think Masvidal is very hard to submit, and Usman's jiu-jitsu is not the best. He's got more wrestling than jiu-jitsu. He's not really good on the ground, and neither is Kobe. Both of them are good wrestlers, but they're not really great on the ground. So I don't think he's going to submit him. Knocking out Masvidal, very hard. I don't think you knock out Masvidal. Even a tired Masvidal, I think, is better on the feet than Kamaru Usman. The ground and pound finish is a way he could do it. He can't. I don't think he's going to submit him. I don't think he can TKO him on the feet. I think if he, in the late rounds, if he's got him on the ground and he's ground and pounding, he might be able to finish him. And that's a possible way for him to do it in the 4th, 5th round when Masvidal's very tired. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think he's too gritty. I think it's going decision. And I'm going to go 49, 44 or 45. 49, 45, Kamaru Usman by decision. So he loses the first round, maybe even loses two rounds, getting pieced up when he's standing. But if he mixes it up, the later the fight goes, the better it is for him. And that's why I think he gets it done. Kamaru Usman, 49, 45, 49, 44, whatever the scorecard is, one of those. So 49, 44 means a 10-8 round, no? Or 2 10-8 rounds. No, I'm not going to give 2 10-8 rounds. I'm going to say 49, 45 or 48, 45, something like that. Yeah, he might get 1 or 10-8 round, maybe 2, but I think 1 10-8 round in the 4th or 5th, and he might lose 1 or 2 rounds early. And that's what I think on the feet. I think he gets hurt a bit early. I think he gets cracked, but he carries on going. He goes for a clinch. Masvidal's very explosive, tries finishing him, but he gets tired. I think he's getting older. He looks worse every year. He gets fat every year. He's 36 years old. Obviously, Kamaru Usman's not young anymore as well, but he's 2-3 years younger than him, so he's got more in him. He's got better cardio than Masvidal. Masvidal's game plan is more explosive with the power punches. Usman's good at grueling with the wrestling for 25 minutes. I think he gets it done. He mixes it up. It's a good fight, but in the end, it goes the same way. Very different fight though, but it does end up as a decision win for Usman. He gets hurt a lot. I think his face is a bit beat up, but he does catch Masvidal a bit, and I think it's going to be a very good fight. Either way though, I'm happy with it. I'm going to go 70-30. No, let's be a bit fair to Masvidal. I'm going to give it 70-30. 70-30 Kamaru Usman by decision. 3 rounds to 2 or 4 rounds to 1. And if it is 3 rounds to 2, I think that it's going to be worse and there's going to be a 10-8 round later on because Masvidal's going to be really tired after those 2 rounds. Because even against Nate Diaz, he was beating the crap out of Nate Diaz. And Nate Diaz is not the best fighter. He was beating the crap out of him. He was gassed out after the 3rd round. People said, we want to see the 4th and 5th. Nate Diaz was robbed. But no, he would have got beaten up to a stoppage or the fight would have been finished. Or if it was 5 rounds, he would have said he did win the last 2. It would have been 3 rounds to 2 Masvidal anyways. But he was gassing out. That's the point I'm trying to make. So he was getting tired. I think conditioning's on Usman's side. I think power's on his side. But technique isn't. And overall power, Masvidal has more power. I think Usman has more natural power, but he doesn't have to use it in boxing. And he's not good at landing those shots the way Masvidal does. And he hasn't got the experience. But if Masvidal wins, I think it's early in the first 9 minutes, gets it done by TKO, maybe a KO stiff, because it was recently, it was only 2 months ago when he fought Gilbert Burns, he got cracked, so you never know, he might get KO'd stiff. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but I'm going 70-30 Usman decision, and either way I don't mind. If Jorge Masvidal wins, we get Colby Covington. I wish that was in the Ultimate Fire, didn't happen, but we get Jorge Masvidal versus Colby Covington. Great fight, former teammates, former best friends. I don't know if it's fake or real, looks real. There's a bit of beef there. Or we get Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman, the rematch. Maybe I want to see a bit of wrestling in that fight now. I don't mind another stand and bang, but I want to see who's better at wrestling. I know they both respect each other's wrestling last time, but it's a good fight. If Usman loses, which I don't think is going to happen, he can still fight Colby. Or Colby can go for a title shot. Or we get Leon versus Kobe, Leon versus Usman for the next shot. Or we get Leon versus Masvidal. You've got 3% soda. You've got some storyline there. You've got Nate Diaz. You've got Conor. You've got all these people in the mix. Conor versus Masvidal. I don't think he's going to take that. Depends on who Conor, if he can beat Poirier. If he doesn't, if he loses to Poirier, he can go for the Nate Diaz fight. Masvidal versus Leon. You got all mixed there. Any way this goes, any way you slice it, it's going to be great. Can't wait. Good night of fights. On to the next.